Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another tips and tactics. Last time I talked to you about how to attack with French, now how to attack with British, which is not easy task for the Brits to assault a strong position, because they're, in my opinion, better suited for defense rather than for the attack. But we will see. Here we have a typical brigade with some support, just to show you the unit that will help you to attack and repel an enemy. And the enemy here is the French, and form a small brigade which are just deployed in the defense of the village. And now proceeding to some tips and tactics now. Again, let me say that when I talk about this tactics, I speak about a casual game where no historical lists are involved. So an example to how to use British into attack, and this is a typical brigade of 4 battalion. One, I suggest, should be in a casual game a light battalion and 3 line battalion. I also suggest 1 veteran battalion, at least one. Again, let me repeat that in a historical scenario this could be completely overturned by the situation and by the dictate of the scenario itself. 1 field gun is also a good idea to support a brigade, and do not forget your skirmisher, your light infantry. And the British, let me say, have one of the best light infantry in the game, because they have a rifle to 18 inches of range and the reroll of 1 for disciplined musketry. So probably the best light infantry. Now in the form of a detachment, but even an understrained unit could fit the game, but they are very expensive, so point wise you will decide which kind of light infantry you will take. Why, you may ask, why have another light battalion? As for the French, could be redundant, but you may have the necessity to protect your advance or have a better firepower again. So the most threat for the Brits is they have no column of attackers. Set aside some particular situation, such an attack across a bridge or attacking a terrain, but usually you have to attack in line. So in my opinion, again, for the Brits, the first tip to attack an enemy is to turn an attacking battle into a defensive one. Turn your attack into a strong defense and counter-strike, and it's hardly that you will find yourself in real danger. Probably it's the way to win the game. And use at best your special abilities that lay in the line formation and the disciplined musketry. And don't forget, the British are probably the best cavalry in the game, a very powerful arms in the form of attacking an enemy position, an enemy which is set in defense. And now, proceeding to show you how you have to use your troop to attack. When you play British, usually you will face French. You have not the problem to face other army as the French do, because if you play historical, not historical scenario, but historical, the British essentially always face only French in the peninsula or in the 100-day campaign. I play peninsula with them, so as you can see they have their style, but anyway they're most of the time facing French, and most of the time they will counter-attack or defend position in a historical scenario set in the peninsula and even in the 100 days. But if you play, as I said, something different, maybe you could be find yourself as the attacker, or you need to take objective in a game with objective and no special purpose to do. So what the first thing that I failed to say is not to be shy to use your marching column to gain space in the first stage of the battle. French are very mobile in a mobile battle because they have a column of attack. But if you have enough room to maneuver, don't be shy to use your speed too, because in a game with objective you need to grab the objective as soon as possible, set your army in a defense position and hold the objective until relief, or in this case until the game over. And don't be shy to move your field artillery with your train, because you are not a French and maybe you have not artillerist on your commander, so don't be shy to use it. Maybe sacrifice some fire to get a better position for your artillery to attack. If you hear the noise is the cat, the scratching is paw here and there. I said don't take a single position for your artillery, but use your train to move around and get a good fire spot to it, because it can help you to break in the enemy defense line. This formation here is one that usually I take when I need to move quick around the table, as a square formation, a diamond formation, with my light battalion in front, two line in on the flank and the veteran on the back, and a screen of light infantry in front. As for the French, made a brigade with only light battalion is an idea. Is a good idea if you have to attack multiple spots around the field and you want to concentrate your light infantry, its firepower, into one spot, probably the weakest spot of the enemy line. Otherwise, if you don't have a light brigade but you want to use mixed in your battalion, use as a screen. So assuming that you are just marching on, you move and take the offensive disposition to face the French. So, examining the defensive position of the French, as an half-competent player will deploy some of their French in line, maybe a light but leger in front, some voltigeur, but even if he doesn't have any leger, another line, but some counter-strike, because the best defense for the French is the attack. As for the British, the best attack is the defense. So one or two unit in column, maybe veteran, so better attack, better tenacity, or cavalry, but this is another story, another difference, assuming only infantry for the moment. So you probably will face some column that they are the counter-attack of the French, if it is defending. If it's rushing for an objective, probably you will see an entire brigade in column of assault, at least until you reach the objective, and then you may swap to mixed order, as I told in the other video. So this is my suggestion. First of all, try a lateral approach, not a direct one, just to reduce the fire that is coming into your line, if you can. And in any case, use your light battalion to screen your main line and protect your veteran, because later on you have to enter into the enemy and you have to withstand the fire as long as possible, and then when the enemy are bitten by the fire you have to enter in. So your artillery on one side the better spot position that you can find and use your train to move it here. I suggest, if you have to attack, to let the heavy artillery at home and use a field gun or a mountain gun. In the peninsula, British have lots of mountain cannon that were light cannon, so you can use as horse artillery, or use those artillery with your light brigade or your cavalry that are not there, they come back later on. Your best infantry, use them carefully. In this form, or in an understrained or full-strained battalion of rifle, they're very expensive, but the first thing, they can punish your enemy away from the distance of fire. They shoot 18 inches, so they even can stay at the range of the skirmisher and take one single shot, but better is to stay in front of the enemy and punish them, force them to move. Maybe it will make an error, or if you refuse to move and withstand your fire, because it's in cover, it's in open order, you will see, you at least have no casualty in return. And this is the reason why I always put my light battalion in front when I have to attack, because they can absorb some casualty and then fall back and left the line to take over and finish the job. Let me say that probably you will lose or reduce your battalion to useless one or two of them when you are attacking, because they take casualty advancing and they take casualty in the fire, and when they launch their assault probably they will be beaten off and forced to fall back or take valor test. But you have reserve. The key with the Brits are taking reserve, one line at a time, and then the veteran to finish the job. Ideally, you have the power, the firepower, to harass the enemy enough to bring the line on the point of breaking. In this formation, for example, you will shoot 4 dice with your light brigade plus 2 dice, so 6 dice a turn. And if you are advancing, because you need to put your line into the assault range, which is 8 inches, you still have 4 dice for the skirmisher, which is not bad. And then remember that you always reroll the 1, so they are the best infantry in the game. And if they are in line and receive some charge or some unexpected charge, they still reroll the 1 if you are in line, if they are in line and not in cover. So and obviously they are in line, so they add half of their firepower to the melee, which is not to be underestimated. And it's the same for the French, but they have no reroll when the British have the reroll. And this is the final key for the assault. When you have idealistically break through the first line, you have to finish the job with your veteran, with your fresh veteran. And when you pull back one battalion to rally them, try to rally the new rally, it's not bad. I prefer this way because you roll more dice, you have more opportunity to recover from severe casualty, less opportunity to recover from a single one, because you need a 6. But when you are shaken, one casualty is easier to recover than a single one. The situation that we have here at the moment is the worst for the British, because French have no real purpose in moving and just have their counter-strike unit to help the first and second line of defense. If you play objective, if you have to grab a spot, if you have to reach a spot on the table, protect a village, take a crossroad, this is where the British shine, because if they reach their objective, reach the spot on the table, their best ability is to turn the attacker into defense. They grab what they have to grab and then set on defense. And then it's the French that have to push you back. So be master of the field in this sense, and take the best position. Even if the game is only on killed unit, so on defeat, take the best position for your line and set the line in defense. Use your commander to be around the critical spot on the table to help to rally, and don't be shy to rotate your battalion to rally and then take the place of the bettered one, and always have a counter strike for a liner tactics. And for the British, another important tips is to be the master of the clock. What I mean, if you play with your friend and you decided that the game ends at that time, be sure that control the time, take your time to be in position at the right moment. It's probably the most difficult thing to do with the British, because take a line position and hold until they die on the spot. It's not complicated, but the right thing to do is to take that position at the right moment of the battle. For example, you needed to take a hill and you reach the hill too early, expose yourself to too much fire for the French or for your enemy, and this allow the enemy to dislodge you from the hill or whatever spot you choose more easily than if you take at the right time. And if you waste all your reserves in too early, you have not enough firepower or melee to repel any counter strike. For this reason, I suggest you to master the clock. If you grab a very good position, maybe some fences, some cover that you help you to protect your force, well, did as soon as possible, and then converge your reserve on that spot. If you needed to protect a village in the center, to grab the village, put your reserves ready to relieve your forces, say hold and to relieve. And your relief force are another brigade of infantry or guard battalion, which is amazing in all energetic, with the tenacity of 6 and the melee of 6. They can withstand very punishing fire and still be effective. And this thing, master your formation, your line, grab the most firepower as you can, taking the less casualty as you can. So protect your main line of attack. If you go only with line battalion, your attack could end in a disaster, because a cunning play will spread the casualty around your line, making them not useless but very less effective. So be careful in your maneuver, and always have some kind of protection in the form of light battalion or light infantry or light cavalry. And now, speaking about cavalry, moving into the second part of the attack. This is the first situation. I use just 2 squadrons, one of light and one of heavy dragoon. Speaking about Peninsula, you have the most valuable cavalry in the game, and for like any other cavalry, you have the same tips. So they have long distance, so they can avoid fire. They are not all in now that you can still retreat, even if you win a melee, but British have had strong, which could be a malus, but most of the time if you play your cavalry properly, it's a bonus because you crush a unit and then overrun and potentially crush another one. And so let me say, if this light cavalry, light dragoon here will charge head on into them and probably easily crush them, then they have to overrun into the line. And this, even if they take one casualty, is still a gamble, because just a single dice rolled better than the defender and you will crush a line too. But even if you do not crush a line, but put severe casualty on it, first of all, maybe they will pass their valor test and can fall back and rally, or simply fall back and go out of the game, but they do the job. If they crash, they can now retire back and avoid most of the returning fire. And in the worst scenario, they stay where they are, or still with the retreat and blow away by the fire. You have crushed 2 enemy units for a single one. So it's always a good gamble to put one light cavalry into the enemy. Maybe not too early, maybe not in the strongest unit of the enemy. So again, you careful choose where you launch your light cavalry. But their favorite target are Voltigeur, Leger, a single artillery cannon, isolated line infantry, but most of the time an half-competent player. In this situation, we put this unit back outside the 18 inches and that unit into square, which allow you to shoot at the square or simply take under the threat of cavalry and move around the side of this line. Different is the matter if the defender have cavalry too, but in this case is the same that we talked in the previous video, because usually cavalry clash one into another, annihilate themselves, and then the luckiest one, or the side which have more cavalry, will turn the tide of the battle in its favor. The second situation with the cavalry is with the heavy cavalry involved. This situation is the most complicated for the defender, especially if he is without any cavalry or serious counter-strike. Why? Because everything I said previously is still valid, but if you crush your first light cavalry battalion, you have a second one which can finish the job. Or in any case, the worst case scenario, you really need to break a strong point. Okay, you can sacrifice your cavalry to make the much damage as possible, spreading across the enemy line, and then let your infantry follow up. Again, master the clock, master the time, launch the assault when you are sure that you have enough time and enough strength, enough reserve back to take over the casualty and grab the objective, grab the village, grab the hill, whatever you want. This 2 unit can cause havoc among this formation. Because this will pop in a sec and maybe put 1 casualty, but it's 1 dice on a 4+, so a 50-50% that can be crushed without any casualty inflict. But anyway, then this line, that gun, and probably that column too, This line probably pop and you will end inflicting some casualty into the column. And then your cavalry is gone, both your cavalry were destroyed, it's okay because you have your line that now have just half of the French force to defend the spot, and probably a better one from some fire, from afar, from the artillery, from the riflemen, and that's it. So try here more than the French, use your light and heavy cavalry in tandem. Use your light cavalry as the hammer and the heavy cavalry to finish the job. I never had good result using only one of the two part of the cavalry, and recently that finally I have two battalion, one of light, one of heavy cavalry. Especially if you have to attack, use the first one, assuming that you will sacrifice them, causing much havoc as possible, and then finish the job with the heavy cavalry. In defense, it's pretty useless to say that heavy cavalry will be the perfect counter-strike for every threat. A British heavy dragoon, even better the Guard dragoon, are the worst enemy for everything, even for the French cuirassier or carabinier. And that's it. Nothing more. British are, in my opinion, a little bit easier than French to master and to get a good result. Speaking about trait, the same for French. Using the right trait for the right battalion if you pay a casualty, and so help your line to rally or to hold ground is always a good idea. I will skip the most aggressive trait because you are not a very aggressive army, in my opinion. If you play with multiple characters with trait, probably in a large point battle is not a good is not a bad idea to have one officer of the cavalry with a trait that help to fight better or to make more attack for the reason that I've just told you. And that's it for how to use British in attack. Thank you for watching. I hope that you're interested. Feel free to comment, and if you like the video, please click the button below and subscribe to the channel if you are interested in. Again, thank you and see you as soon as possible. Bye bye.